Not since Grand Moff Tarkin obliterated Alderaan has there been an empire quite as mustache-twirlingly evil as GameStop Incorporated, or rather, if you gathered 12 irascible nerds in one room, I can comfortably predict without any precognitive abilities that this is the conclusion that they would all arrive at. The problem, of course, is that they're often at a loss to explain why. Could it be the side-splittingly hilarious prices they offer you for games you've elected to trade in? Is it the fact that they pester every 5-year-old and arthritic grandma to purchase a subscription to Game Informer magazine? Is it the way they always seem to hire that one reasonably hot girl who thinks that a Nintendo Wii is what happens when you bring your NES with you to fucking Six Flags Magic Mountain? Make no mistake, GameStop are a bad company, but why then are so many reasonably intelligent people incapable of itemizing their complaints? Now, I've been teasing this episode for a long while now, and seeing as we've at long last hit episode 20, I figured it was time to either shit or get off Bobby Kotick's mouth. Today's episode isn't a game review. Hell, it isn't even a review. It's an indictment. And I want you to spread this indictment like wildfire. I'm not asking that you do this for my own glorification. The Rageaholic is doing quite well thanks to the most bitchin' fan base on the planet. No. See, I want you to spread this video to get the word out about this morally bankrupt robber baron of a company. Link it to every asshole you know who shops at a GameStop. Power to the players indeed, motherfucker. I want every bulbous, self-important district manager in the company choking on this video like it was the last bear claw in the box, Rageaholics. Don't let me down. So without further delay, this is the Rageaholic's comprehensive review of GameStop. Now, first off, we have to establish a couple quick facts about myself. In late 2007, I was actually employed by GameStop. Believe it or not, the company saw fit to train me for management within just a week of working there, which should give you some idea of the average educational level for employees in this company. Now, also, for those who don't pay attention to the credits, I have a video editor, Taryn Gell, and he has been employed by GameStop for the last 5 years, much to his own chagrin, so if you're wondering why we have such bizarrely intimate knowledge of the company, there's your answer. So let's walk through your typical GameStop transaction, and once we've done that, I'll break down the whys and wherefores of this hypothetical meeting. You waltz in the front door, intent on selling 2 old shitty GameCube games to these schmucks and paying the difference in order to get, I don't know, Halo Reach or whatever the fuck. Plop the games on the counter. GameStop's skank of the week with breasts twice the size of her FICO score steps out of the back room having finished performing fellatio on the manager. Are you sure you don't want to trade 2 more games in, sir? You see, if you come back precisely at the midnight hour on the anniversary of the Gettysburg Address while Jupiter and Saturn are in perfect alignment, cartwheel in a storm with a triple axle twist and make it through the fire maze while trading in 4 more games, you can receive up to 0.00006% more trade-in credits. No, that's cool. I think I'd rather cram a shotgun in my mouth and do my best Kurt Cobain impersonation if it's all the same to you. Alright then, would you like to buy a subscription to Game Informer magazine while you're here? No, that's fine. I just hit up Costco and stocked up on all the toilet paper I'll need for a good 3 months, thanks. I see you're picking up Halo Reach. Would you like to reserve another generic first-person shooter, one with lots of bloom and brown and gray bunkers? I recommend Killzone 3. And I recommend you stay in school. Don't be a fool. Stay in school. Alright, well, with all your trade-ins, that comes to $45. Come again? $45 is your total. No, I heard you. I just wanted you to say it again because it sounds completely different being uttered a second time by a paste-eating retard. Why, may I ask, am I only getting $2.50 for Legend of Zelda The Twilight Princess when you jackholes are turning around and selling it for $40 goddamn dollars? At Bookman's, they give you at least 1/4 of what it's worth and turn around and sell it for half of the Amazon.com used price, which makes perfect sense to me since they have to make a buck. I'm sorry, sir. The computer decides what the prices are. Ah, so it's the computer I should be thanking for the ass-fucking. Look, fine, here's your $40. Just promise me you won't drive a motor vehicle anytime soon. Sir, I'm being trained as a third key, and I'm trained to resist the urge to punch stupid whores. Now, let me be upfront and admit this scenario isn't completely accurate. It assumes one huge thing, that you were not mauled by a sales associate who latched himself to your leg and refused to break his vice-like grip until you pre-ordered the newest entry in the Madden franchise. See, GameStop has this thing where they think customer service and annoying the ever-loving piss out of your customer are synonyms. Not only are they not synonymous, you money-mongering shit-stains, I would argue that they're mutually exclusive. A customer does not get served, whatever the fuck that means, if the second they step into in the store, the sales clerk not only says hello, but follows it up with, "Would you like to hear about our trade deals? And in case you need an empty trash receptacle, the top of my head pops right off so I can better store all the company's prognosticative bullshit." They don't want you to be satisfied, they want the shareholders to be satisfied. Acquiring the money in your wallet by any means necessary is the only way they can make that happen. Ever wonder why GameStop's associates bludgeon their customers into spending money? Well, allow me to explain that there may be several reasons. For example, while I was working at GameStop, the PlayStation 3 wasn't doing so well. The system itself was cool, but it definitely lacked games at that point. So every new big exclusive was trumpeted as the first killer app for the PS3. It was under these circumstances that Lair was released. GameStop, you see, has a bit too cordial of a relationship with Sony, and Nintendo and Microsoft for that matter, and in this case, they apparently actually believed Sony when they said the game would sell like mad, and ordered a ridiculous amount of copies accordingly. Well, then advanced reviews of the game told a very different tale, as the game was blasted by pretty much every video game website and publication available, and suddenly, an interesting email pops in our store's inbox. "Sell Lair right now," it read, which puzzled us all because Lair wasn't even going to be released for 3 more days. We had copies in the store, but technically I was under the impression that it was illegal to sell a video game prior to its date of release. The email continued, "The advanced reviews have been more negative than expected, so we need you to really hard sell this game so the company isn't stuck with excess inventory of this shit piece." So, if you walked into a GameStop in late 2007 and picked up a copy of Lair at the behest of an overzealous GameStop employee, then ended up with buyer's remorse roughly the size of Gabe Newell's waist, you can thank that email. The real reason a GameStop employee is so vociferous in their pursuit of your cash, as illustrated by these official trading documents we've intercepted, is that if they don't hassle you for every last red cent, they run the distinct risk of being fired. Which is GameStop's prerogative, to be sure, but as I think all their customers would agree, there's a thin line between customer service and get the fuck away from me, you leering, obsequious retail automatons. See, if GameStop actually gave half a decaying llama turd about true customer service, they would have updated their hideous computer software eons ago. Ever walk into a GameStop and ask the associate, "Hey, do you have a copy of Resident Evil 4 for the PS2? And they give you that patented shoulder roll / hand wave gesture with their right hand like they're throwing their self-respect to the PS2 wall before offering up the profoundly self-assured, if we do, they'll be over there." No? Perhaps on occasion you've been lucky enough to encounter an employee who actually used the computer to look up a game for you. Well, if you get the distinct feeling that their proclamations to their store's purported inventory are as definitive as Brutus's battle plans at the Battle of Philippi, that's because GameStop Incorporated has seen fit to make it impossible for your average employee to ever know how many copies of a particular game they have in stock. So, say you type in Resident Evil 4 in the search field. In order to know whether you have any copies of a particular game in stock, the employee would then have to type 1 into the quantity field, meaning the store has at least 1 copy of said game. However, considering how frequently their used games tend to look like they were spot cleaned by a wire brush wielding hyperactive chimpanzee with Parkinson's, that may not even be technically true. Speaking of their used games that tend to look like they were used as a hemorrhoid pillow by a nervous porcupine, there's a reason for that as well. See, on paper, GameStop's strategy for dealing with used product is perfectly sound and above board. In practice, as with most things, GameStop fucks it up in spectacular fashion. Say a crackhead trades in a scratched copy of Grand Theft Auto 3 for the PS2. The GameStop associate may or may not inform said crackhead that they can only accept this game as what is called a refurb, meaning that they would pay the crackhead just $1 rather than their standard fee of $1 and a firm pat on the ass, then ship the game to the regional GameStop headquarters where someone with a buffing machine will smear some nondescript gelatinous mixture all over the bottom and then spin it around in front of a grindstone until the bottom looks like a fucking spirograph. The game will then be shipped back to the store in question and sold at the full used price, meaning if the game sold for $14.99, GameStop just made a $14 profit. That's how it works in theory. In practice, every used game that gets sent to the main headquarters to be resurfaced is sent in as what's called shrink. Shrink is bad. Managers don't want shrink. The empty packaging for a stolen Nintendo DS is also shrink, for example. The less shrink a manager has, so the legend goes, the better their prospects for advancement, as district managers spend every waking hour they aren't spending in their ejacularium with a palm full of Vaseline and Jenna Jameson's latest vaginal escapade, reviewing said managerial stats and recommending the best candidates for promotion within the company. What the biggest shitheel managers like the jackhole I was working under have figured out is that if they simply don't send scratched games to the headquarters to be fixed, their precious stats won't take a hit, and they will look better as a result. Said shitheel manager is able to reconcile this decision due to GameStop's return policy. See, any used game you buy, you can return for a full refund within 1 business week, a policy the company didn't used to have until so many managers started taking the easy way out with regard to stats, which means GameStop Incorporated is actually well aware of what's going on and is trying to cover their managers' sniveling, duplicitous, collective asses. In essence, they are making themselves look good at the expense of that all-important, oft-repeated GameStop buzzword, customer service. I don't know about you, but I don't feel terribly well served when I pop in my copy of Playboy the Mansion only to have the game lock up before I get to see my first jaggy pixelated titty. Oh, but I haven't even really spilled the beans yet, Rageaholic. See, I mentioned that I was on GameStop's payroll in late 2007, which was right in the eye of a Nintendo Wii hurricane. This thing was selling like a chocolate-coated heroin syringe in late 2007. No one could find one. At least 30 or 40 times a day, we'd have some frantic grandmother running up to the counter asking, "Did you get any Wiis yet?" only to be turned away faster than a white guy auditioning for a McDonald's commercial. Well, as the holiday season arrived, GameStop began preparing for their big Black Friday sale. For those of you whose souls are still mercifully unscathed by the spirit-crushing drudgery of holiday retail positions, allow me to explain. Black Friday, that is, the day after Thanksgiving, is, for obvious reasons, the single biggest sales day for all retail chains across the country, GameStop very much included. Retails normally pull out all the stops to attract new customers. Low prices, buy one get one free promotions, dangle enough money in front of a GameStop store manager's face on Black Friday, and they'll let you do things to them that would make Marilyn Manson's sex therapist dry heave. But GameStop did things a little differently that year. About a week before Black Friday, yet another interesting email drops into the store's inbox. "You'll receive a fresh shipment of Nintendo Wiis this evening," it read. We began to let out a collective sigh of relief until we read the rest of the message. "However," it continued, "for the next week you must tell all customers asking to purchase a Wii that you do not have any in stock. That way, you will sell more Wiis on Black Friday and make the company look better as a result." I had to read it again to make sure I hadn't made a mistake. GameStop Incorporated instructed our store to lie to our customers' faces. We had a storeroom full of Nintendo Wiis for a full week, and we were forbidden by the management to sell them. Now, bearing in mind, it could have been just a local district manager who was a notoriously duplicitous shitbird, who, by the way, is still gainfully employed with the company. I've asked around, and I've heard conflicting reports from other GameStop managers at other stores. Some remember quite vividly receiving this email. Others swear up and down they've never seen it. The bottom line is, whether it was main HQ or one asshole district manager trying to make himself look good, the unbridled avarice and greed impressed upon GameStop's management from key holders to the company's CEO himself is what made that email possible. GameStop Incorporated is like an asshole factory, and the bigger the asshole, the lower the personal standards, the smaller the sense of personal morality, the higher the salary. You want a reason to stop shopping at GameStop? Pick any of the above. Hell, even without any personal history with the company, I'd take one look at the physical state of their stores and decide against setting foot inside. The employees are so intent on cramming the latest issue of Game Informer down my urethra, they conveniently ignore the rack of PS2 games that just embedded itself into their latest subscriber's forehead. See, once they have your cash, you're nothing to them. Once they've procured your hard-earned dollars, they really couldn't care less if you're wading through 6 feet of raw sewage the rest of the time you're in their store, as evidenced by the condition of the average GameStop. You see, if one person's behind the register selling Gamer's Edge cards to every Hispanic grandma and leering meth addict, and the other person is standing at the entrance waving hello to the customers and goodbye to his dignity, then the million-dollar question becomes, who the hell is making sure the store doesn't look like post-Katrina New Orleans? The only reason I mention any of this, of course, is because, as with every last one of GameStop's duplicitous business practices, it comes at the expense of the customer, and it's time to return the favor. Boycott the asshole factory. There's no reason for anyone to go there any longer. If there isn't another video game retailer near you, then pat yourself on the back for living in 1871. Or better yet, get a better price on Amazon.com. Best Buy now sells used games. Game Crazy is a similar company that doesn't take advantage of their customers or kick puppies on their spare time. Even fucking Walmart now sells used video games. There is officially zero reason to step inside a GameStop for the rest of your days. Spread the word, Rageaholics. Post this on every video website you can find. You have my permission to rip it from YouTube and embed it at will. Good luck and God fucking speed.